Mark lowered his head and sniffed the man's ass. He was immediately convinced that he was a bad guy. As everyone watched, he reached out and touched the man's ass. Soon he pulls out a white bag. The patrolman tasted it and said,
It's pure heroin.
Soon the police chief was alerted to the incident. At the press conference, the chief praised him. Looking at Mark, who had made a big splash in front of the press, the police chief, who often bullied him, was very upset. At this time, a pair of eyes in the dark was secretly watching Mark. At night, a mysterious old man suddenly called out to Mark.
Ow!
When Mark woke up, he found himself in an animal park. The old man told him that he had saved his life and transplanted animal organs into his body to save Mark's life and gave him powers beyond those of ordinary people. Upon hearing that he was his savior, Mark was very grateful. After chatting, he was ready to leave, but the doctor told him that the operation had serious side effects. His animalistic desires would gradually take over his humanity. If it gets out of control, it could be disastrous. The safest option was to stay in the lab, but Mark had just been promoted. Mark was still thinking of falling in love. Of course, he wouldn't listen to the doctor. He insisted on leaving. The next day, Mark was called in by the sheriff to give him a lecture. He didn't listen to a word. He stared intently at the chicken leg in the sheriff's hand, and when he left, he went through the garbage cans uncontrollably. He ate it like an animal. The chief of police caught him in the act. It was a very embarrassing scene.
Don't be ashamed, son. I've eaten out of the garbage before.
Mark was on duty when he met a beautiful woman. The adrenaline in his body spiked out of control. The old lady thought she'd met a perverted cop. In the afternoon, Mark came to the animal shelter to visit the goddess of his heart. The fish in the tank once again aroused his animalistic desire. He stuck his head in the tank. He had a fight with it. Seeing the goddess anxious about her bald eagle cubs not eating, Mark chewed the earthworm and let him peck it out of his mouth. After finally regaining his human senses, he was challenged by a gorilla.